What's up, y'all? I'm trying to do some troubleshooting on the Accord right now. I'm topping off my battery. It was not too low, but if I'm going to be messing with it, ignition on, figured I'll top it off. This is one of my RC chargers. These are pretty handy. Uh, my actual quote-unquote car chargers are at the shop, so I ordered another one on Amazon. That'll be here tomorrow, but in the meantime, this will definitely top it off. It's only charging at 10 amps. This thing will charge at 20 amps if I wanted to, but 10 is fine. Anyway, figured while I'm waiting for that, I'll take some time to give a rundown of the car. Of course, when I started this car, the swap, this was naturally the least often K-swapped Honda out there. So there's not a lot of information. The information that is out there is old and possibly outdated. Actually, I found out a lot of times it is outdated. So I'm pretty much ready to start it once I can figure out my wiring issue. So the car is pretty complete. I'll try to go through the things that I learned along the way, maybe some tips that I discovered that literally nobody was talking about. Even the guys that do have these cars K-swapped, they don't really remember what they did, because they did it 10, 15 years ago. There actually aren't even that many running out there. Maybe a few dozen in the country. Okay, so let's just start with the car. As you can see, it looks pretty stock. But this is not exactly K-swap, but it's just car info. So these are Sentra 16-inch Steelies off of a 07 to 12 Sentra. And they allow me to use the stock 14-inch hubcaps. They are retained by the lug nut. The washer on the lug nut retains the hubcap that way. It doesn't clip in around the rim like normal. So that's a part of the sleeper look. Let's look underneath the car. So you can see it's got a new gas tank. The sway bar is off of a 99 Acura TL, a first gen TL. It's the same as a 5th gen Accord or 4th gen Accord. It'll bolt up, but it's even thicker. So I think, my car didn't have a sway bar at all on the rear. This factory Accord rear sway bar, I think, is 15 millimeters. This one is like 17, something like that. Although it does look bigger than 15 millimeters from me looking at it right now. But anyway, the Acura TL sway bar is even thicker than the Accord sway bar. And they do bolt right up. I did have to swap out this subframe. So that is an Accord subframe. You just have to take it off of an Accord that has a rear sway bar if you want to reuse the factory sway bar mount. Okay, so I'm sure you guys are looking at these. These are SPL links. They're aluminum centers, titanium clamp nuts, and then some F1X. I think it's the series of the Heim rod ends are super tight, high tolerance or close tolerance. The long one I think is spec'd off of E92 M3. The short ones are off of an FRS BRZ. You kind of have to mix and match the parts together, and then you still have to change the rod ends to match your hardware. But anyway, brakes, it does have rear discs off of Accord EX, a late model. I think it was a 92 that I took it off of. And these are just stock replacement rotors, and I think have power stop pads on it. You can see my exhaust hangs pretty low. I'm still undecided if I'm going to keep that or change things around. The car isn't too low, but it is kind of low, so it may scrape here if you come off hard off of a speed bump. I do still have to put a turn down on there. As you can see, the facade is a few inches behind it, and the actual exhaust is right here. So okay, so that's all I have going on in the back here. I did replace everything suspension related or brake related, so every brake hose that's flex is new. Every bushing on here is new. So even in the trailing arms, the lower arms there, That's all new with new bushings and new sway bar end links, everything. So, oh, and let's see. Those are Coney Yellows. They're adjustable Coney Yellow Sports with Eibach lowering springs. Okay, so on the front, it's a shame that you can't see them, but I do have the Prelude big brake kit on here. So I converted to the rotor over hubs in the front, which is pretty much similar to every other car out there except for this generation Accord. And when I swapped to those hubs off of the Acura CL, I went to the bigger brakes off of the Prelude. So the caliper and the caliper's bigger. The rotor is, I think, 11.2 inches compared to 10.1, something like that. It is the same front brake setup as the Accord wagon, so you could just pull them off of an Accord wagon. Let's see. So this is innovative traction bar, all new suspension on the front also. You can see all the new bushings. Everything is Mevotech Supreme. And then there's the Coney Yellow with Eibach again. Also all new brake hoses. This is a OEM CV axis off of a Civic Si. Got that from Joseph Cruz. The one I bought originally, somebody had put the wrong axle in the box, and it was a closeout from Rock Auto. I was like, oh yeah, 40 bucks, good deal. Well, there was a Nissan Murano axle in there. So you can see the oil pan. That is a baffled oil pan from Unit to Fab out of Canada. And I do plan to track this car, so the baffled oil pan is pretty important to keep oil from sloshing around and starving the oil pickup. There's a better look at the traction bar. Okay, let's see. That's about it from down here. So on this car, it's a hodgepodge of everything else. I do have the Hasport mounts, the actual Hasport mounts for a Civic or RSX transmission. This is a 8th gen Civic transmission. You could do Accord or TSX mount, but I wanted a factory LSD transmission, so we went with Civic. The mounts are pretty easy to install. This one here is a weld-on. The rest are bolt-on. This piece here is actually welded onto the frame. It's pretty nice, though. Of course, you'd expect that from Passport. My shifter cables are Accord 6th gen 03 to 07. So there is a adapter that you can use. So this Civic transmission, the shift pattern is 180 out from RSX. If I would have known that, I would have gotten an RSX transmission and put an LSD in it, because then it would have allowed me to reuse my stock shifter. But because I went to the 8th gen Civic transmission, which the selector is 180 out, I had to switch my shifter. So this is, underneath here is a 0307 shifter. This is a Mugen Civic Si shift knob. But anyway, if I didn't switch it, first, it's in gear. First and second would be here. Or yeah, first and second. Fifth and sixth would be here. So it's a 180 out shifter. But anyway, while we're here, these are Scion FRS seats out of a 2017. They are on a custom bracket from 1320 Racing that you... No, I bought the knockoff 1320. So 1320 is a knockoff, and I bought the knockoff of the knockoff. And you have to weld on... you can see my ugly welds right there. You have to weld on the tabs and bend them and everything onto their bracket. And then I welded the Scion tracks directly onto the bracket. So the height is pretty good. Seating position is excellent. I got a new carpet in it. These are Acura CL floor mats. Momo steering wheel, because it's the law. Pretty complete interior in the front. The back is gutted right now. But okay, so what did we learn under the hood? You can use Accord stuff. Accord cables are pretty easy to find at the junkyard. You have to get an adapter bracket. That is a Jack Spanny adapter bracket to allow you to use Accord cables on a Civic transmission, 8th gen Civic transmission. That way I can use the Accord shifter in there. It corrects my selector being 180 out. And everything else is pretty standard K-swap stuff. Like my clutch, I think is RSX, and flywheel is RSX. The slave is Element. Thermostat housing on a TSX, it points up. You can see this one, it points down. That is a CRV or RSX thermostat housing. It's the same part number, so if you're junkyard hunting, you can get it off of a CRV. But then again, these things are so cheap. So normally, actually, this is new, but the housing, the back housing, it does have to match the front. So you have to get both pieces. But this back piece, I actually got that from the junkyard. And I think this is new, or at least the thermostat itself is new. And there is a plug here. This is some Amazon special. It blocks off the heater core. So the pipe that comes out of there is the hard pipe that feeds into the heater core. So all it is a plug with a little bracket that holds it in. And you can see back here. So there's my heater core. I didn't even pull it out or anything. Here's one of the hoses to the heater core. The other one would be a hard pipe, which comes out this way, and I just have it all blocked off. But okay, what else? I tried to reuse my stock fan and shroud, and it was not going to work. The stock shroud is super bulky, and you can see here I already have minimal clearance between the alternator and a fan. The fan is semi-slim. I wouldn't call it a slim. There's probably a slimmer fan you can get if you have clearance issues, but this is a pretty nice radiator. I got this from eBay. It came with this aluminum shroud and dual fans. I think it was like 250 bucks shipped, and it is a dual core, so it is pretty beefy. And I live down here in Houston. I'm working on the car right now because it's actually nice and cool out. And when I say nice and cool, it's 92 degrees. So that's what nice and cool is for us. So we need big radiators, maximum cooling. And a lot of guys, oh yeah, you just need a half radiator even when you're turbo. Okay, yeah, maybe in Minnesota, but not in Houston. So, okay, let's see. Standard RBC intake manifold. Bolts right up to the RBB head. This is a TSX motor. This is the new Hybrid Racing 75mm throttle body. And this hot mess here, I had to do to get my TPS to point down. If I get it to point up, it'll probably clear with a stock Civic SI hose. But I don't have any hood clearance, so I can't point this up. And when I tell you I don't have any hood clearance, this is the Hybrid Racing plug for a map. And I had to profile it down maybe half an inch. And that half an inch was needed because it was literally hitting the hood. So even now, so I put a low profile button head screw. It used to be a cap screw. The button head and then reprofiling this is the only way it clears the hood. Even right now, it only clears by a 1/4 inch. So I definitely couldn't put the map here and then plug here. So hood space is at a minimum on this car. You could do the gap thing on the back. I think it looks stupid. It is so dumb. The reason I say it's dumb is because now people are doing it, or they've been doing it. They do it just to look cool. The original reason to do it is for hood clearance from a swap, but now people do it just so that people think you have a swap. It's dumb as fuck. But anyway, one of the few new, quote-unquote, new parts on this car is this, the TPS. Factory TPS sensors are riveted onto the throttle body, so they're not exactly reusable. There are ways to do it, but you know what? A new one is like 20 bucks from AutoZone, and I trust AutoZone stuff. I don't trust eBay or Amazon stuff, but I will trust the stuff that goes to the big box stores, because those actually are, if you can call it that, a real Chinese part. But the eBay and Amazon stuff, it's a knockoff of a knockoff. So avoid those. Like spark plugs, all that stuff. Anything worth making, they will make fakes of it. And I have experienced fake spark plugs on this car. So I put spark plugs in it. This is a big turbo Fiesta, and it was blowing out the spark, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm getting all these misses at high load, high RPM, and then I get new plugs from AutoZone. I swap them in, and it's fine. I didn't realize until later when someone told me, hey, yeah, those are probably fake spark plugs, and yeah, I got them off of Amazon. So they looked okay. I don't remember inspecting them too closely, but I'm sure they were fake. Because as soon as I swapped them out, all the problems went away. Okay, so back to the car. That's a K-Tune budget header. It's a 421. I do have it's on my catback. It's some bullshit Chinese catback, but I bought it because it was cheap. And it was manual bent 3-inch stainless for like $200 or something, 200, 300, I don't know. I bought it just for the catback. It already has a resonator there. I added a vibrant resonator here. So hopefully the car is pretty quiet. I really hope it's quiet. I can't stand loud cars. I'm over that. I'm too old for that now. Let's see. This is a generic 45 3 to 3.5 silicone elbow off Amazon. This is part of a K-tuned K-swap 3.5-inch intake. Where, of course, I paid. I don't know how much I paid for it, but I only used one little part of it. So maybe I shouldn't have done that. But it looks good. I think. I don't know. I'd like to do an actual cold air intake on here. I don't know where I would put it because most of the time they put it here where my battery is. Check out my battery bracket. That is just some 1/8-inch plate with rotor rings bolted to the side. Those are off of ZF6R, I think, to facilitate the clamp hooks, the little J hooks for the clamps. And that is bolted down to the factory mounts underneath, and then 2 more bolts on the top here. So it's really solid. But because it's there, I can't put my my cold air intake there. This is going to present a problem also whenever I turbo the car, because my intercooler piping is not going to have room here to go to the front of the car. So I'll probably end up having to put that in the back or something. Let's see. So this is a Toyota Avalon, like 04, whatever generation that is, overflow bottle. And I like it because it's a nice square shape. It attaches with one little bolt here on this bracket, so it's easy to adapt to a lot of applications. What else did I learn on this thing? Okay, sorry about that. Now that I'm looking, that is a EP3. No, that's not EP3. I think that's RSX, the lower hose. No, I think it is EP3. RSX sort of fits. EP3 fits much better. Very natural bend. It does the bend that it wants to. There's no kinks or anything. Oh yeah, I was supposed to talk about this. So this is a Pontiac G6 3.6 lower radiator hose, and it's from the 3.6, not the 3.5. It's a very rare car to find at the junkyard, so basically just order the part new. The only reason I'm using it is because it has this dog leg down, so I can get my hose to drop lower to clear my TPS. So this is most of the G6 hose. This is a Civic Si 8th gen hose, and then it has a coupler here underneath. Just a standard 1.25-inch coupler with hose clamps. Let's see what else. Alternator is all TSX stuff. So my water pump housing is off of a USDM TSX, and everything else is same. This is an EP3 idler, but my tensioner, my alternator, water pump housing, water pump, everything is, where is it? It's down there. Everything is TSX spec. And my jumper harness, this is rye wire. Jury's out still on if I like it, because I'm kind of thinking my electrical issues are related to this. This is a bullshit eBay harness, which I already did repin. But that's still not the problem. I do have an OEM CRV harness that I converted and I still couldn't get power to the ECU, so that's an ongoing problem. Let's see, for fuel, I did reuse my factory lines. So factory fuel filter, I'm running a return style. So fuel comes in here to the filter, comes out there. Made some AN hoses. It comes into the fuel rail here. We got injectors, and it's regulated after the fuel rail. That's a hybrid regulator and a hybrid fuel rail. So it's regulated, and then return is this hose here. I think it's 3/8, maybe 5/16. I think it's 5/16. And the factory return to the tank. Let's see. This is a brake booster hose. It still has a factory check valve, factory hose up here. I just ran an AN hose, goes underneath the intake manifold, and it comes up over here. And then I do have factory routing on PCV. I don't know what else. There's a lot of things that I learned the hard way, trial and error. I can't quite remember all the little things. But I guess that could be for a follow-up video. If you have any questions, like really specific questions, I mean, shoot, go for it, ask. I always try to help everybody, and I may know the answer, or at least I can act like I do. So I do eventually plan to put AC back in it, but that's not my priority right now. Oh, so I am running a Link ECU. That is my speed sensor. I don't know if I'm going to try to get that to work. What I may end up doing is, well, no, what I am going to do is use an ABS sensor off the rear for wheel speed, and that'll be enough to output a signal to my dash for the speedometer. So anyway, let's see what we're at on the charger. So it's already put in about 4.5 amp hours. It's a smart charger. It'll stop whenever it's full. It's on 6 cell, which is what a 12 volt battery is. 6 cell lead acid battery. But anyway, guys, that's where we're at. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get some work done on the car, but nice little break. Grab me some ice cream. I do have a stereo in the car with a sub. I got a 10-inch sub in the trunk, so it sounds pretty good. But yeah, if you got any questions, feel free to ask, and I will try to help out. Thanks for watching.